Well, it took me all day long, but I got 12 tractors up and running for a little lineup. And not all of them are pretty, not all of them are perfect, but I'm dang proud of them. We'll start here. This one is my daughter Riley's 1076. It's a 1966 10 horse starter generator automatic, and filly Riley bought with her own money, and I've helped her with some parts, but otherwise she's done all the work to get it running. And we will go through it, clean up that wiring mess. I think this summer we'll probably do a good wet sand and maybe a WD-40 treatment. And this one over here is a C160 I call Chief, and that exhaust, it does shoot some flames. It's pretty fun. Today's actually the first time I've driven it, so I'm happy with that. I put a 1276 hood on it. You can see I've done a little work modifying the brackets to get that hood to fit. I still need to put the belt guards on. I suppose I should probably get a new belt for it. It's got a really bad groove in it, and it's way chewed up. I might have another one. I know the automatics don't have to have a perfect belt, but I think I could do better than that. This is Stormy, the 1056, 1966, 10 horse with a 6-speed limited slip transmission and a front end loader, currently the ARC 500. I still need to work on getting the hydraulics to work at their full potential. I don't know if I've got a relief in the valve or what's up, but it seems to deadhead the pump easier than I would think it would. But I'm pretty happy with the way that works. This is Hot Wheels, 1963 953. It's got a Magnum 12 engine in it, and I know it's got a high and low transmission. I don't remember if that's a 6 or an 8 speed. Sorry, Richard. I will find out. It's a Harley Davidson baffle that I drilled the stack. I drilled the baffles out of it, and the hydraulics work really well for that one bottom plow back there. That's a 10-inch Montgomery Ward. And there's been some questions on this hitch, so I figured I'd show it real quick too. I built that last year, and it mounts to the tiller or plow brackets instead of the differential. So a little bit wider base. I don't know if it helps or not, but that's what I did. Come over here to my daughter Jada's 857. This we just got done doing the 1045 style body work too, as you've seen in other videos. I put a what was it, 753. I took a 753 tower apart, and we did all the spot weld cutting in there and along here, and cut the two towers apart and welded them back together the way the factory would have built a 1045. It's got a 552 toolbox and fenders, so otherwise it looks just like a 1045 would. Other than that, 8-horse Kohler. This is Frank. Frank is what I call a 1073, and if I did it right, I believe this is the way Wheelhorse would have put a big block automatic tractor together back in '63 with the round hood body. I did a lot of work to make everything fit and try to make it fit like the factory would have. I built that toolbox and bent it all up, welded it together. And these are David Bradley rear hubs and wheels and tires. It's a Charger 12 chassis, so it should have a limited slip in that rear end. You can see the battery is up in that front box. It's a C101 engine, 10 horse Kohler, and I built that for my wife last year. It's all wet sanded and clear coated over all of the original or old paint, and any body work that I did, she insisted that I showed it. So if you were to look at that belt guard, you can see there's a ton of body work, but it's very flat. I worked a long time to get that the way it is, and I was going to skim coat it and Bondo it and paint it real nice, but she wanted it to look old, so that's what we've got. Putt here is my first restoration with a cherry bomb muffler on the stack. There's a Honda Shadow baffle welded into the top, and this 502, if you see the vinyl there from Terry, it says 8-8. So I've got an 8-speed out of a C101, an 8-horse Kohler off of an air compressor, C101 rear wheels, and a 604 chassis that I cut the tower off from and put together with my 502 tins. This hanging weight, it just sits on here. Those are bolts out of small block Chevy exhaust manifold from the 80s, and if I were to pick this up and wiggle it a little bit, they literally just sit there, and just the weight of it holds it in place, keeps it wedged. I'm going to do some more work to make this a better plow tractor. Maybe someday try to figure out how to hide some hydraulics in there, or add them somehow, somewhat inconspicuous. But we'll see how that goes. This is Riley's other tractor, Screamin' Jimmy. It's a Commando 800, and we just recently put some sweet dual stacks on it. They're just stainless handrails, and I think I finally convinced her that we can try some of these tractor flaps an 1.5 inches, and she's afraid of them not doing that a whole lot, tink tink tink. And so I told her we can work on the weight, the counterweight on the back of that thing, to either give it a little more weight or to lighten it up a little bit and make it really bounce around a lot. But Riley learned how to weld on this project, and this hood, I have no idea what it came from. We got it for free from a friend of a friend type thing at the big show last year, and Riley, she thought it should be on her tractor. I did part out a C101, so you'll see and notice I use a lot of those parts. These spindles and front wheels are off of a C101. The Commando 800 was a lot narrower, but these rear axles on this are super wide. They're just a 1-inch axle. I don't know what they are. The wheels aren't super deep dish out of the ordinary, but those axles stick way out. And so I just wanted a really wide track front end for her too. Just more stability for my young daughter. This here is Jane. It is a Commando 6 with a Tecumseh engine, and I'm pretty proud of the way this thing runs. Same as that Tecumseh right there on the 656. But this tractor I got for something like 80 bucks, and I just recently got some fancy chrome wheel covers. They're all beat up and tarnished, but I threw them on here. But this tractor wouldn't run when I got it, and the carburetor was all gutted. There wasn't anything left of it. So I took a Kohler carb and stuck it on there. It bolted right up, and with this gas tank up high, no fuel pump needed, it works really well. Starts great, runs great, and I'm happy with the way that goes. The electric start and the pull start recoil both work, and this thing's just dang reliable. I just stuck the mid-mount grater blade on it. I don't really think it's got too much weight on it that I'd be able to dig a whole lot, but I might do a little work in the driveway, see how it does, make it earn its keep. But Jane is just a plain Jane wheel horse, not a whole lot special, so that's where she gets her name. This here's the polished turd. Steve Bow on Red Square is real big on wet sanding and buffing, and at the 2018 big show in Biglerville, Pennsylvania, he taught me how to wet sand and how to buff and how to cut the finish in. And for as ugly as this tractor is, it is smooth. So yeah, it's a 656 Tecumseh engine, still with the Tecumseh carb, and both of these engines run just super great. I wouldn't go out and tell anybody, yeah, go grab a Tecumseh and replace your Kohler. I'd hands down go for a Kohler every day, but these Techies have never let me down. So they're pretty cool. Steve, my C81, it's got a 7-horse K161 out of a 753. I swapped the side plates so I could mount this stator and flywheel off the K181, so I could still have my my starter and my ignition. It's got a David Bradley gear head on, and I'm still working on this mount, so that piece of railroad tie or iron is just holding that in place. And I've kind of mocked it up where I want it. I definitely have a little bit more to go, but that's just a spindle off of a 42-inch deck, and I turned down the shaft to get it to stick out further to the pulley side, and mounted a set of pulleys on. It's got custom exhaust too, comes down under that footrest and dumps out right here, and it's just got a good mellow sound. If you've seen in my other videos, the convoluted washers are underneath the floorboard. I cut some washers apart and twisted them and put them inside some of the pipes that I was welding together, and so it's got a good mellow sound. This is Big Junkie. Big Junkie is a I think a 1276 is what it says, but I believe it's got a 10-horse Kohler, so it might as well just be a 1076. But it doesn't have the starter generator, so I don't know. It's a 10-horse automatic, and it's got that big car battery in it. So it was one of those that had the big heavy-duty battery. Big Junkie runs great. I did put a fuel pump on it last year. Otherwise, I had to put my hand over the carb to get it to pull enough fuel in to start, and then it'd stay running. But there's nothing pretty about this thing. I was going to put a cool hood on it and make it look nice, but Big Junkie just fits. Steering wheel is all wiggly. The motion control is all sloppy. It's got the wrong cables on it. And I do have a belt guard for that, or maybe that's the one I pulled off for Riley's filly over there. So I might have to work on putting a belt guard on it. It's just for safety at this point. There's nothing critical as far as the automatics and a belt guard like the gear drives. So I'm happy that I got these out today. Someone's calling me on my flip phone, but this is my lineup. Thanks for watching. I'm glad to have a little bit of daylight left to show y'all this. Have a nice day.